everyone, I believe this is going to be my first video, so I just want to start off by saying I'm Natalia, I'm 21, live in London and just love reading. My goal this year is 75 books. I believe I'm on 54. Anything else I can tell you about myself? I just graduated uni doing a real estate degree, so at the moment I'm currently just working part-time as a barista. And then looking for jobs. So yeah, I have quite a lot of free time at the moment, so I thought I would film this video because I feel like it's a great starting point for this channel and hopefully like a bit of a talking point as well, because I know so many people love this series, and that is the Boys of Tommen series. And the first book is Binding 13. This is such a beloved series and I want to know why it's so loved, to be honest. I feel like this is a great time to read it because I know that this starts off with Shannon joining a new school, I'm pretty sure, so we're at that kind of time of year. I want to read this by the end of September, so that's like 11 days, so I really should finish this, but we'll see. I'll let you know at the end if I've crept over into October, but hopefully this will be done by the end of September so I can include it in my first wrap up, which will be for September. If you don't know about this book, which I feel like is pretty hard if you're not in the like romance world, this is about Johnny and Shannon. Johnny is a rugby player at his school. I think he has pretty good prospects to become a professional rugby player, and he's kind of dealing with that, and then Shannon has moved to a new school and she's had a bit of a tricky time so far, so definitely look at the trigger warnings. I know I did before I went into this. But a little bit more backstory on me. I'm from a big rugby family. My dad and my grandpa and my brother played rugby when they were kids, up until like when you would become professional basically, and my dad's still a coach. I go and watch Harlequins play. We've got a season ticket. So I'm quite well accustomed to rugby, which is probably not very common for many readers. Rugby isn't that popular. I mean, it's popular in England and Ireland and like Australia, but globally it's not really a popular sport. So I'm really intrigued to see how I feel about the rugby element. I do have some hopes for this book. My only worry is that I am not in much of a romance mood at the moment. I've got my little stickers to annotate with. I know that the second book is pretty similar colour coordination, so I might have to use these for that one too. So yeah, I think we're just gonna get started. I apologise for the quality right now. I've had to do front facing camera just because of the background noise, and I'm sure that my audio is not going to be as good when it's front facing. But yeah, let's get into my update. I'm about 30% in. I am having really mixed feelings because I'm really enjoying it as long as I look over some of the stuff. There are some comments in this book, particularly by Johnny, but just generally by the men and boys in this book, that are just uncomfortable to read and misogynistic, to be honest. I'm trying to look over it for two reasons. One, because this was written 10 years ago. Not that that much has changed, but I do think it's less socially acceptable to speak like this now. Still happens, and as I said, I grew up around rugby and I know that men and boys speak like this. I think if she had written this book now, she might not have included nearly as much of that, or I would hope so. But again, it's kind of hard to say that because it's realistic, unfortunately. But the second reason I'm trying to look past it is just to enjoy it more, because I'm not going to enjoy this book if I don't look over what they're saying. Like, if I was to look past everything that's been said, it would be a 4-star. That's kind of where I'm at with it. As you can see, I have tabbed quite a bit, to be fair. The yellow is like secondary characters. The red-y orange kind of colour is Johnny and Shannon. I am loving Gibbsy. I know everyone loves Gibbsy, but I'm loving Gibbsy and Claire a lot more. Like, I love Shannon. Shannon is definitely my favourite, but Gibbsy and Claire, I can see why people love Gibbsy. He definitely is no saint either, but again, just trying to look past that. I'm not gonna lie, even putting all the misogynistic comments aside, I'm just not sure how I feel about Johnny. The way that he kept bringing up the age gap was like, I get it, because I think the author is trying to make it clear that he is aware that there is an age gap, but it just keeps making me aware that there's an age gap. I would say personally, from my own school experience, people do date people that are like 3 school years below. I wouldn't do it personally. Not many people do it, but it does happen. And it is still weird, but it's, again, realistic, which I'm liking, but I'm also not liking, because I don't want to be reminded so often that you have this big age gap and it's inappropriate and you're making comments about her. Like, it just all adds up. But anyway, if you've read this book, you know just before 250 pages in, there's a chapter that happens, and that just made me like Johnny. Like, I kind of was getting over the things he says, his actions, which I'm not sure really align with what Shannon would need. But yeah, I'm gonna get back to reading. Again, like, I am enjoying it, and I definitely will finish it because I want to know what's gonna happen, and I like the relatability of the school. So I apologise that I'm using the front facing camera again. My audio on the back camera is not good, and also it's so gloomy today. It's like grey outside, so I'm sorry about the lighting. I know this might be a bit like warm lighting, but I thought it would be better than like black and white. Basically, that's how gloomy it is. I wanted to give a little update. I don't really have that many more thoughts at the moment, but I am 450 pages in now, so I'm over halfway. I'm still not sure on Johnny. I can see that he has like good intentions, but I'm not sure if his personality matches Shannon's in the long run at this point, but I am hoping maybe by the end of the book I can see that, because I know so many people love Johnny. I know a lot of people love Gibbsy as well, and I definitely feel like I prefer Gibbsy, but that is honestly my only update. We've got to see a bit more of Joey, her brother, which has been fun, but again, not enough to make me excited for his book, because I know his book is the next 2 after this, and this and Keeping 13 even. And yeah, those are honestly my only updates. I feel like it's gone pretty fast. Like, it does not feel like I've read 450 pages, which I think a lot of people say, like, it is a daunting book, but it does go by pretty fast, which is kind of strange because not actually that much happens. But I feel like that's kind of what I like about it, because it just feels like realistic day to day whilst you're at secondary school. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how far I've got in. I think I'm going to try and read about 150 pages today, and then tomorrow, again, don't have too many plans. I do have a driving lesson, but I think I could finish this by tomorrow, which would mean I think it took me less than a week to read this, but we'll see, and I'll update you and obviously give you a full rounded update at the end. Okay, so it is the next day now, and I actually finished the book yesterday. I think I read like, must have been about 400 pages, and I know I said I was gonna probably finish it today, but I finished it yesterday. So I have rated it 3.75 stars. I was really in between a 4 and a 3.5, but normally when I am thinking that way, I normally check on Storygraph what I've rated, like what books I've rated 3.5 and so on, and if I liked it more than those books, then I'll probably move it up. So that's how I landed on 3.75 stars. I feel like my thoughts from the previous updates still stand. I'm not loving, or I don't love Johnny. Like, I can tell that he is a good person, kind of. And I think if a lot of the sort of misogynistic stuff wasn't in it, I would definitely like him so much more. But yeah, I think that might be an unpopular opinion, because I've been reading some Goodreads reviews, and this has 4.4 rating on Goodreads, which is really good. So there wasn't really many like 3-star reviews, but a lot of them were saying that they didn't like Shannon and that they liked Johnny, which I definitely didn't feel that way. My thoughts are, I looked past a lot of the misogyny. If I didn't look past it per se, this would not be a 3.75, it would be like a 1, maybe a 2, because I wanted to enjoy this. I did try and look past it. So that's my like main thoughts and feelings. I will also say I thought this would be like an autumnal kind of book, because it's school. It's not really, so if you're looking for an autumnal read, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this series. It's just school term. It's actually in like winter term, we would call it, or spring winter term, so it's not an autumn read, but it was fine for autumn. I feel like that's pretty much all my thoughts. If I'm being honest, I don't think Johnny and Shannon would be a healthy relationship at this point, because Johnny has like sort of an obsessive personality, and I just don't think that that like bodes well. But if I just kind of look at it surface level, it was cute. You can tell that they both really care about each other. I don't necessarily feel like I need to read the next book at this point. I will, because I did enjoy it, but I don't necessarily feel like I need to find out what happens next. If you like romance, it's a bit young adult, but there's definitely some serious topics in this book, so you definitely need to check triggers, because even when I was doing my little Storygraph review, you have the option to add triggers, and it was like maybe 60 or 70% of what they list as triggers were in this book at some point. So definitely check that. And I hope that this video was insightful and not boring. I would say if you like romance and you're okay to read all the triggers and okay to read about school life, like I think in a couple years I would not have really wanted to read about being at school, so definitely have a think about that before you read it, because it is pretty much all based in school. I actually haven't shown you my tabs, so I actually did end up doing some more of the Johnny and Shannon tabs, so that shows that over time I've kind of liked them a bit more, but I'm still not certain on them. But yeah, it's a long book, but it does go so fast, and yesterday, like, it didn't feel like I'd read 400 pages yesterday, because obviously that would be like a full book for most books. And it wasn't even necessarily that I wanted to read on to the next chapter, but it kind of was. I don't know how to put it. So I definitely wouldn't be too daunted by the size. This took me less than a week to read, which I'm so surprised at, because at the beginning of this video I was saying, well, I hope I finish this by the end of September, and I think it's like the 26th today, so it's definitely like not an issue. If you are in the right headspace to read this and you're not in a slump, because I feel like if you're in a slump there's no way you were getting through this quickly, you would enjoy. So that's all my thoughts. Take from that what you will. And yeah, thank you for watching. I hope that I do some more videos in the near future, but yeah, thank you for watching.